Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Antidote of Song brought to you by the good folks at Carpe Diem Arts. This is day 1557, if I've got it right, of singing every day of community, of joy, and of songs that bring us together and help us see the other person and see ourselves in each other. Um, so lovely to have all of you in the room and on the live stream. Let's say hello to the live stream. Um, and to everyone in the Zoom room, welcome. Thank you for being here. And yeah, we wish everyone a great day of singing. Welcome to Aloysius in Massachusetts, Dory and Ollie maybe, Arlene in Berkeley, Dan Walker in Vienna, Athena in Brooklyn, welcome. Trish in Victoria, BC, welcome. Bonnie in Boise, welcome. Bob in Albany, welcome. Kathleen in Albuquerque, Diane in Massachusetts, welcome. Kathy in Colorado, welcome. Delhi in Maryland, welcome. Annette in California, Luda in Victoria, BC, welcome. Carolyn in Boise, welcome. Carolyn in DC, welcome. Mr. Jim, welcome. Elizabeth in California, welcome. Sarah in Texas, welcome. LMG in Connecticut, Sue in Seattle, Mabel, welcome. Fred in Silver Spring, welcome. Phil in Totnes, welcome. And Jamie in Victoria, welcome. Nancy in Washington, Bob and perhaps a bear in Massachusetts, Gary in Massachusetts, Susan in Cincinnati, Amanda and Miles in Michigan, Carol in Connecticut, Anne in Nashville, Hoda in BC, and anyone in the room who I haven't said hello to, thank you for being here. And I'll make sure the goodbye is exuberant and loud. To the people holding the behind the scenes, to Joe in New Hampshire today. Thank you for everything you do. To Aaron in the Bronx, thank you for everything that you do as well. And folks, welcome. Today, my name is Shruti. I don't think I mentioned that. I'm in Delhi, which is not as hot. It is no longer 120 degrees or so. I'm very glad to say. So it has cooled down. There are the rains coming down, bringing with it some relief. And in the Zoom room we have today to bring us joy and comfort and singing, we have Wes Weddell. Let's give it up for Wes, everyone. Wes has come here and sung on May Day, on the 1st of May before, and so glad to welcome you for the second time. Wes describes himself as a diligent tortoise in a sea of oft distracted hares, and I just absolutely love that description. Thank you for that. That gives a whole new perspective on writing bios and everything. But thank you for bringing your activism, your music, and everything that you do. You're tuning in from Seattle in Washington today, right?
And if it's hot in Seattle, I know it's hotter for everyone else. Thank you so much for having me. This is such a wonderful undertaking. It's such a balm. Connection matters so much. So I'm really happy to be asked back, and appreciate seeing so many faces in so many boxes.
Wes, we're delighted to have you with us. Let's give it up for Wes, everyone. And what are we singing today? We're excited to dive into the
Well,
song.
yeah, y'all had me on May 1st, and that was an easy one to go the International Workers' Day route. July 10th was a little less obvious theme wise, but a quick Google told me that today is Independence Day in the Bahamas. And in 1973, Bahamas got their independence from Britain. And so I decided that we'd sing the sloop John B., which has deep, deep roots in the Bahamas. I want to make it very clear at first that I am not an ethnomusicologist nor an expert in Caribbean studies. I'm sure there's context I'm missing. It's not my intention to teach any particular lesson with this. This is just me following the train of thought, and I wanted to use the lyrics. The first in-print transcription of this song dates to 1916 from British author Richard Le Gallienne, published in his article Coral Islands and Mangrove Trees in December's Harper's Monthly. But I did correct some of the really obvious dialogue phonetics that just didn't feel like they maybe hold up as well. I'm sure there's other things I missed, but I wanted to be clear about that. So since you're all muted, you sing whatever version you want. Brian Wilson changed some words and a couple chords in places. There's 2 verses in this transcription that don't end up in a lot of the popular recordings, but you know, we got all the bits and bytes we can use here. This is about Antidote, so I said we go for it.
That's awesome. Let's do that. Thank you, Wes, for clarifying.
Absolutely. All right, here we go. Sing the version you know, or learn it with me now. The chorus, just so we do that right now. And again, I love the call and response. I love seeing the different enthusiastic interpretations that pop up in the boxes. But chorus of this song goes like this. So hoist up the John B. sails, see how the mainsail sets. Now for the captain ashore, let me go home. Let me go home. I wanna go home. I feel so break up. I wanna go home. And the story unfolds thusly. Come on the sloop, John B., grandfather and me. Round Nassau town we did roam, drinking all night. We got into a fight, and we feel so break up. We wanna go home. Here's that chorus. So hoist up the John B. sails, see how the mainsail set. Send forth the captain ashore, let me go home. Let me go home. Oh, let me go home. Well, I feel so break up. I wanna go home. Oh, the first mate, he got drunk, break up the people's trunk. Constable, come aboard, take him away. Poor Mr. Johnstone, leave me alone. I feel so break up. I wanna go home. Chorus. Hoist up the John B. sails, see how the mainsail sets. Send for the captain ashore, let me go home. Let me go home. Let me go home. I feel so break up. I wanna go home. The poor cook got the fits, throw away all of my grits. Captain Pig done ate up all of my corn. Oh, let me go home. I wanna go home. Oh, I feel so break up. I wanna go home. So hoist up the John B. sails, see how the mainsail set. Send for the captain ashore, let me go home. Let me go home. Oh, let me go home. Oh, I feel so break up. I wanna go home. All right, here are the verses that don't make a lot of the common recordings. Steamboat, go by steam. Sailboat, go by sail. My girl's head ain't got no tail. So let me go home. I wanna go home. I feel so break up. I wanna go home. So hoist up the John B. sails, see how the mainsail set. Send for the captain ashore, let me go home. Oh, let me go home. Oh, let me go home. I feel so break up. I wanna go home. Send all the things from ashore. Let all the breezes blow. I'm so sorry that I can no longer stay. So goodbye to you. Tra-la-la-loo. This is the worst trip since I was born. So hoist up the John B. sails. See how the mainsail sets. Time for the captain ashore. Let me go home. Let me go home. Let me go home. I feel so break up. I wanna go home. One more chorus. So hoist up the John B. sails. See how the mainsail sets. Send for the captain ashore. Let me go home. Let me go home. Oh, let me go home. I feel so break up. I wanna go home. Yes, I feel so break up. I wanna go home.
Let's give
Thank you
love.
all. So many boats and other props. Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you all.
Let's give it a yes, everyone. Thank you so much for that song. Um, you seem to do like really lovely theme-based songs and like topic-based songs. Tell us a little bit about your journey. And,
Uh, well, I have gone all in on craft songwriting in absolutely the wrong town for it, and so it's nice to step out of that a little bit and be invited into a space because there's just because I'm most passionate about the nuance of rhyme and phrases doesn't mean that's what every audience member is thinking about every time. And this is really space to think about like what's gonna create nice participation energy. And it's I know it's noon in some of your time zones, but it's too early in the morning here for too many of my feelings, and so we might as well use somebody else's song for this.
and you do a lot of songs based on activism and rights movements and things like that.
Yeah, I find inspiration in a lot of different places. I'm really active with an organization in Seattle confusingly called the Bushwick Book Club Seattle, an idea that started in Bushwick, Brooklyn, of original music inspired by literature, where once a month this nonprofit puts on a concert, and all 10 of the musicians, and it's different musicians every month, but all 10 or so for each month have read that month's book and write some song inspired by it. Love it, hate it, connect with it, indifferent to it, find a point of inspiration. And I just it's really nice when the audience is invited into conversation. And some songwriters do that with their own body of work sort of naturally. But I find deeper and more durable connections that way. And a lot of it for me is reconciling my roots of really growing up with. I saw a couple of Weaver's albums in the shots there. My mother was an attendee at Camp Woodland in the Catskills, where Pete Seeger would occasionally make a visit as music counselor, and Joe Hickerson was a counselor there for a while. And I'd like to think it was my grandfather who gave Pete the idea to take the first and not the fifth when he was called before HUAC, but there was 7 or so years in between that, so a lot of people probably trod that journey. Trying to, in my own writing, be relevant and contemporary, and also realize that came from a lot of places, some of which honestly hold up better than others.
Yeah, and thank you for like being so honest. I love the way you just sort of began and very honestly said where you stood with the song, and I really appreciated the honesty in that sharing. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. Yeah, I have a complicated relationship with a lot of song collectors, and I love knowing the songs, and I also feel like there's a lot of the story we don't have, and it felt important to me to be clear that this is absolutely one of those moments with me as perpetrator.
Thank you. And I think we've had Joe Hickerson has also been on the Daily Antidote sung with us. So a lot of
Figured that was a name some in the room might know.
well,
It was Paul McCartney who taught me don't drop names. That's not really true. That's
well, thank you for that. And yeah, to everyone over here, a lot of wonderful stuff happening with the Daily Antidote. Lots of musicians who have generously sort of given their time. The Sonia Cohen Kramer Smithsonian Folkways album is right now up, and of course, donations are very welcome, but not necessary. If you'd like to know more, that's in the newsletter, folks. And of course, Deeper Than the Skin is also on for a while. So for more info, please go to the article. I think it's going to come in your comments if you're on the live stream, and if you're in the Zoom room, check the chat box. If you'd like to know how to come to the Zoom room, please visit the Carpe Diem Arts website, or you can comment wherever you are on the live stream, and a link will come to you. Thank you very much, Wes, for this conversation and this song. We'd love to sing it with you again, if a little section or the whole song, if you're up for it. If it feels right. The whole song, I think, is the
Oh,
general.
okay, all right. Well, if Joe wants the whole song, then we're getting the whole song. All right. See you at the end. We come on the sloop, John B. Grandfather and me. Round Nassau town we did roam, drinking all night. We got into a fight. We feel so break up, we wanna go home. So hoist up the John B. sails, see how the mainsail sets. Send for the captain ashore, let me go home. Let me go home. Let me go home. I feel so break up, I wanna go home. First mate, he got drunk, break up the people's trunk. Constable, come aboard, take him away. Mr. Johnstone, leave me alone. Oh, I feel so break up, I wanna go home. So hoist up the John B. sails, see how the mainsail sets. Send for the captain ashore, let me go home. Let me go home. Oh, let me go home. I feel so break up, I wanna go home. Poor cook got the fits, throw away all of my grits. Captain's pig done ate up all of my corn. Oh, let me go home. Oh, let me go home. I feel so break up, I wanna go home. So hoist up the John B. sail, see how the mainsail sets. Send for the captain ashore, let me go home. Let me go home. I wanna go home, and I feel so break up. I wanna go home. In the steamboat and go by steam, sailboat and go by sail, and my girl's head ain't got no tail. So let me go home. I want to go home. I feel so break up. I wanna go home. So hoist up the John B. sails, see how the mainsail sets, send for the captain ashore. Let me go home. Oh, let me go home. Yeah, let me go home. And I feel so break up. I wanna go home. Send all the things from shore, let all the breezes blow. I'm so sorry that I can no longer stay. Goodbye to you. Tra-la-la-loo. This is the worst trip since I was born. So hoist up the John B. sails, see how the mainsail set, send for the captain ashore. Let me go home. Oh, let me go home. I wanna go home, and I feel so break up. I wanna go home. One more chorus. Feel free to heist up the John B. sails, all the weavers, whatever you choose. So heist up the John B. sails, see how the mainsail set, send for the captain ashore. Let me go home. Oh, let me go home. I wanna go home. I feel so break up. I wanna go home. Oh, I feel so break up. I wanna go home.
Let's give it up for Wes Weddell, everyone, coming in
Thank you
from.
all. What a treat for 1,500 plus days. Truly remarkable.
Thank you, Wes. And happy Independence Day to anyone who might be tuning in from the Bahamas. And yeah, thank you for bringing this song here. So, so wonderful, so delightful. Um, Thank you, folks, for being here on day 1557. To everyone on the live stream, thank you for tuning in and goodbye. Have a wonderful day or night wherever you are. To our wonderful song leader, Wes Weddell, thank you for singing and thank you for making us sing along. What a delightful, wonderful song. Thank you for being here. To everyone in the room, to Dory and Ollie and Arlene and Dan in Vienna, Athena in Brooklyn, Trish in Victoria, BC, Bonnie in Boise, Bob in Albany, Kathleen in Albuquerque, Kathy in Colorado, Luda in Victoria, BC, Carolyn in Boise, Carolyn in DC, Baba Jim in Maryland, Susan in Cincinnati, Pauline in Newcastle, Annette in California, Kevin in DC, thank you for being here. Phil in Totnes, thank you for being here. Cricket in Maryland, Anne, Mabel and a Bear, Jane in Texas, Amanda and Miles in Michigan, thank you for being here. Hoda in BC, Liana in Vermont, Gary in Massachusetts, Bob and a Bear in Massachusetts, Fred in Silver Spring. Thank you so much for being here. Delhi in Maryland, Diane in Massachusetts, Aloysius in Massachusetts, Jamie in Victoria, Anne in Silver Spring. Thank you for being here. Sue in Seattle, Nancy in Washington, Carol in Connecticut, Elizabeth in California, Kevin in New Hampshire, Storm in Massachusetts, Joe in New Hampshire, and Aaron in the Bronx. Thank you for being here and co-creating this face of the Daily Antidote of Song. I'm Shruti, and this has been lovely. Thank you for being here. Good night.